We are back as promised with the senior chairman for Sullivan and Cromwell, Rodgin Cohen. So, Raj, thanks for staying with us through that breaking news. Before Rick Perry's announcement, we were discussing essentially how to stop money from getting to ISIS and other terrorist groups, because that is a big part of why they have been able to achieve some of their goals.
Absolutely. Without the money, they can't buy the weapons, they can't buy the recruits.
So what is the best way to attack this? I mean, no one knows the global financial system better than you do. What is happening? I mean, are banks laundering money without realizing it, or some are or some aren't? How is this functioning in the plumbing of dollars?
Right. I think all major international banks have very thorough approaches, programs to stop money laundering. But the problem is that each bank is its own silo. And I personally believe what we desperately need is a public-private utility to collate, collect the information so that banks just aren't looking at what each individual bank can determine, but can draw upon other banks and on the government. And it is pulling these strings together, piercing the veil, that will enable us to stop it.
This sounds like the reasonable and great idea to do. Why hasn't anybody, have you proposed this? Has somebody tried to do it and it didn't work? Why isn't that happening now?
It is very difficult to understand why it hasn't been implemented previously. People have talked about this since 2001. There are concerns. They're not illegitimate concerns, such as worries about privacy. But when you look at the greater good, this is a project which could be undertaken, could be implemented, and you can deal with the concerns by careful planning.
Because we talked earlier with a former NSA official about how fingerprints taken off of a cell phone actually ended up helping finding bombers. So obviously all of these concerns about privacy are baked in. But do you think it is a failure of this administration to not get this done, to not work with other banking systems?
It's a failure since 2001, so it is unfortunately bipartisan.
It is a bipartisan failure. For those who don't know your background, Raj, as well as I do, you helped to secure the release of American hostages in 1979 from Iran. I mean, you were the person negotiating with the banks. People who saw the film Argo know a little bit about the background of that time. What do you think about what you see now in the region, whether it's the nuclear deal, whether you see how we are dealing with terrorism? What is your big picture takeaway from all your years of experience?
I think the big picture takeaway has to be that there cannot be individual programs. You've got to look at this as a holistic problem, terrorism as a holistic problem. And I think we need to have more confidence in our institutions and their ability to both respect the Constitution and deal with terrorism. You mentioned the NSA just a moment ago. They do a marvelous job in protecting this country, and to tear it down is a real mistake.
Okay. So glad you were here. Thank you so much. Rodgin Cohen joining us there, Wall Street's preeminent counselor, Rodgin Cohen, senior chairman at Sullivan and Cromwell.